Hi everyone, I'm Chyill and welcome back to another Battlerite discussion video. Now that the Mega Summer patch has been out for about 2.5 weeks, I'd like to share my impressions of the patch with you guys, like what I liked, what I didn't really like and all that sort of stuff, so sit back, relax and enjoy the show. So with the Mega Summer patch in full swing, Season 4 is well underway, players are happy with their skins, etc. Let's talk a little bit more about the patch, shall we? Since I've pretty much covered the major components of this patch separately in their videos, by that I mean my videos on the Rocket Balloon Brawl, the new campaign mode, and the new champion Blossom, I decided to do this video now as sort of a summary of my thoughts on all those 3 additions, and I also wanted to share my thoughts on all the other additions to the game that I didn't get to cover previously. I have split the video up into different sections, and so if you just want to hear my opinions about a certain topic, you can feel free to skip ahead to the part that you want to watch. The timestamps will be in the description below. So yeah, with all that being said, let's get started. Blossom, our new range support champion. I uploaded a guide on Blossom last week, and so if you haven't already watched my Blossom guide yet, where I shared how I like to play her and discussed what my thoughts are on her as a champion, then the link is in the description of the video and you can check it out if you're interested. Before she came out, my initial thoughts on her after reading her skill descriptions was that she seemed kinda overpowered. Her EXQ and R abilities felt like they were going to be really strong. But when Blossom was finally released and we got to try her out, they weren't as crazily strong as I initially thought. Having said that though, those abilities are definitely still her best abilities to me, and so I was genuinely happy that SLS managed to introduce interesting abilities like these while maintaining some sort of balance. It is often difficult to achieve balance in a game where different champions have different abilities and all that, and so with this successful release of Blossom, it really gives me hope that SLS can do a pretty good job at putting out more new champions with more new interesting abilities while still maintaining balance. The new Rocket Balloon Brawl mode. Oh man, what a load of fun. As mentioned in my earlier video dedicated to the Rocket Balloon Brawl, I think that the Rocket Balloon Brawl was really well done. Even though it's not an entirely balanced game mode, since certain champions are way better than others at the game mode, it is still very fun because the teamwork among teammates matter quite a lot more in this game mode as compared to the normal 2 vs 2 or 3 vs 3 game modes. Being a Brawl game mode where you can respawn after you die, it is also quite a bit less stressful since you can sort of just jump in, hit some people around and just have some fun. So I think that's pretty cool. Since the Brawl is available only on weekends after the initial release week of the patch, the Brawl can exist without permanently splitting the player base. I think that this is a pretty smart move, since doing this also allows them to make more Brawls, which I am definitely looking forward to without having to worry about the queue times for the normal game modes being permanently increased. The new tutorial mode, or campaign mode as they call it now, was I think a pretty successful re-implementation of the tutorial. Even though the campaign mode is currently too linear for my liking, I think it still succeeded in its job since it managed to cover all the necessary information that the beginner needs to know, and it also definitely managed to give most experienced players a bit of a fun challenge in some of the missions that were available. The system they developed for the campaign mode seems to be expandable, and so there will most likely be new missions and maps that can be added to the campaign mode that will allow for a more exciting and engaging PvE experience for players of all skill levels. I'm really looking forward to these challenges being added in and implemented, and so we'll just have to wait and see what they come up with, and hopefully they come up with some stuff that are good. Quest rewards and account levels. Finally a topic which I haven't fully covered in another video. So about these new systems, I think that the new daily, weekly and achievements quest system seems to be pretty good at retaining players. The player numbers for Battlerite has definitely increased after the patch, and the post-patch decrease in player numbers was not as fast this time around as compared to the previous few patches. Sure, it could be that the amount of new content in this patch was quite a bit more, with Blossom being added, the new campaign mode and whatnot, but nevertheless, I'm sure the new quest system played at least a major part in retaining players in my opinion, since it is a pretty good way of getting cosmetics, which with this latest patch, we see a whole lot more of cosmetics. Not only that, giving players a longer term objective like achievements or even just weekly rewards is definitely a good way of retaining players, as seen in many mobile games or even other much larger PC games. Much like quest rewards, I feel that account levels are there for the same purpose of retaining players, and the reason I think that is because some players like to have a sense of progression, where they feel they are making their way toward a certain goal. This goal being a higher account level to show that they've played a lot, or maybe for some other reason. And so yeah, like I mentioned earlier, player numbers are quite a bit better now after the patch than before, so I guess this also contributes a little bit to that, I suppose. While the system seems to work, they can definitely be improved on as well. An example of this could be that more achievements could have been added, since for a lot of players who have put in more than a few hundred hours into the game, have found that they've mostly cleared all the achievements already the moment they logged in after the patch. So yeah, maybe more achievements might help to bridge that gap. Some people felt that account levels could be a function of total champion levels, and that champion levels should no longer be capped, so that there was a reason to continue playing a level 20 champion, for example. I guess that makes sense, but I suppose maybe SLS had a good reason for choosing not to do it this way. But anyway, I guess all that really matters is that these systems do what they're designed to do, and so as long as the player numbers remain, SLS can take a bit more time before they improve on these systems further, I feel. Cosmetics, so many new skins and remodels in this patch, and I think I quite like all of the changes. Except maybe for Croak's super bright shiny skin, because I think he's supposed to be an assassin. What's he doing with that bright fluorescent skin? But anyway, I think the SLS actually did a pretty good job with the reskins and remodels so far. I personally really liked quite a few of the legendary outfits, and not to mention also some of the epic outfits which were already in game, but it looks so much cooler now on the new models for certain champions. Well, that's my opinion at least. Some of them look cool enough that I think people were more willing to spend some money on buying those legendary outfit chests, so that should be good for SLS for a while, I suppose. My only complaint about the whole skin thing is that maybe they should reconsider increasing the drop rates on these legendary outfits a little bit more. I get that there aren't that many skins yet in the game, but when the patch was dropped, I opened up almost 120 silver chests, 70 plus gold chests, 4 or 5 legendary chests and a few other chests here and there, but I only managed to get myself the Odo legendary outfit. While I'm not really complaining about my luck or anything, I just think that the drop rates could be adjusted slightly now that there are quite a few more legendary outfits in the game with more to come. I feel that there needs to be a right balance in terms of the average number of chests you have to open before you get a legendary, because some people might feel discouraged from the constant grind, but yet not getting anything really meaningful for them out of it. So yeah, if you're listening SLS, consider tweaking the numbers a little bit is what I think, but other than that, great job on the skin so far. I'm really liking most of it. So about this new strict matchmaking system, I think it seems to work well so far. Because I play in the Asia region, which has far fewer players than the EU or NA regions, I don't really get to play strict matchmaking all the time, since it does take quite a bit longer in the Asia region to find a very balanced match. And so unfortunately I didn't really get to use the system very much at all to fully try it out, but in my limited experience with the system though, when there were enough players online, it seemed to put players within maybe 2 to 3 divisions of each other into a match together, and it doesn't seem to go more than that, so I suppose that's pretty good. There was only maybe one time where I felt the strict matchmaking wasn't strict enough, but for most other times it seems to work as it should, so not too bad I would say. If I were to suggest some improvements, assuming it isn't already being done this way, I think maybe making the acceptable range of divisions a little bit different depending on the league of the players would be a pretty good idea. What I mean by this is that in Silver League, for example, a Silver League Division 6 player wouldn't have that much difference in skill as compared to a Silver League Division 2 player. If you compare this to Diamond League, a Diamond League Division 6 player seems to be considerably less skilled than a Diamond League Division 2 player. And so perhaps the strict matchmaking could make a Division 6 team versus the Division 2 team in Silver League a possible matchup, whereas a Diamond Division 6 team wouldn't be a possible matchup against a Diamond League Division 2 team. This is mostly my observation anyways, without any real data, but it does seem that way to me at least, and so maybe leave your thoughts on whether you feel the same way about the ranks in this game. Finally, our last topic is on champion balance, and in this part of the video, I mostly just want to cover about the Rokan changes, because when I did my Mega Summer patch notes video, I made a pretty big deal out of Rokan's changes. Even with all the buffs that Rokan got, from my observation at least, it doesn't seem like he has gotten that much stronger. His pick rate has definitely increased, since I definitely see a lot more Rokans going around, but when playing with and against other Rokans, somehow I feel like the changes didn't really do much to how effective he is as a champion. I thought that it would have been a pretty big deal that Rukan can now use his spacebar during his ultimate form, but it seems like even with the ability to use his spacebar in his ultimate form, he still feels almost just as vulnerable as before. I'm not too sure if people have just learned how to deal with the Rukan when he's using his ultimate or something, but it does sure feel like nothing much has changed to me for some strange reason. I wanted to talk about this because I wanted to share my observations about Rukan with you guys, and so do let me know if your experiences with Rukan, whether you play him yourself or you're playing against another Rukan, were any different before and after the patch. And so yeah, that's mostly it for this discussion video. I hope you enjoyed the video, and be sure to leave your comments on some of the topics I brought up today, because I look forward to seeing what you guys think about these things that I mentioned. Also, don't forget to like, comment, share this video with your friends, and subscribe to see more Battlerite videos or just other gaming related videos in general. I hope you have a great day, keep gaming, stay chill, and I'll see you guys in the next one, alright? Bye bye.